Hello and welcome back to America Truck Simulator. It's been a long freaking time since I last drove in the trucks, and I'm talking about big ones, not the ones you see on iRacing. But after that one journey from Blythe to Reading, a lot has happened over the summer, which I've talked about in the last episodes when I was talking about that game Full Stride, and especially in the world of racing. So why not just go for a drive? Talk about everything that's been going on. Right now, I think I'm in Reading, or at least a bit south of it. So looking at the market right now, Kenworth trucks, but that's a huge freaking trailer. I mean, you think I'm up for a challenge? Like, screw it, I'll do it. Elko, Nevada to LA. And, you're about to set for a heavy haul job. Review your truck configuration, make sure it's up to the task, alright? Yeah, I'm not an expert on these semi-trucks. I don't know what the heck I'm really looking at. Like, I know engine power 550, I know what gears are, I know what torque is, but how am I supposed to know this is actually good for a haul like this? Alright, we're finally in the truck, but we're actually at a mechanic station. There is some damage I'm seeing with the truck, so I'm gonna start looking at repairs for it. There isn't... Oh, I knew it was a reason it said 32. So, service recommendations, great. This is also new to me. There's been a lot of updates since I last played, so now I'm trying to figure out what the heck to do. So I'm assuming this repairs damage. This one can give like a full-on new part. And you're going to talk about the wheels. 30% worn. Screw it. We'll see what it does when I do the full reset. Confirmation. There we go. So damage repaired, and just as I thought, this wrench only repairs damage. So we'll have a slightly worn engine, but come on, it's literally just 1%. It's not going to hurt at all. Back to driving. And let's get this engine on. So because our rest meter is quite up there, we're definitely going to need some rest soon. Oh, wrong freaking gear. What am I doing? And is there a... Why happened to the gas meter? I can't see... Oh, it's down there. Duh! With the new speedometer, so... Make sure parking is also enabled. Set at 52 a gallon. My goodness. Welcome to California, man. Now we're going to turn this thing around right after this truck and get some rest. Luckily, there's one right over here. We're still going to have a long way to Elko as well. It's going to be a 10-hour drive. I actually don't know if we're going to be able to do that haul, because it's 19 hours until the job expires. I don't know how long this rest stop is going to take. Rest state. So we can choose how many hours we want to rest. That's actually cool. So only 3 hours needed for a full rest. And then mandatory breaks. Oh, so that's actually awesome. There's an actual like federal regulation for truck drivers where if you drive for this many hours straight, you have to take a mandatory break and take mandatory rest. That's actually stupidly realistic. That's freaking awesome. So power nap out of the way. Start this engine. Oh, forgot to shift all the way down. Or... Great, now I'm getting reverse gears messed up. This is going to be a process to get used to over again. Although I should have turned around the other way because of how the parking spaces were slanted. Luckily, there's no cops nearby to judge me. But now we're going to get out of this gas station finally and hit the road for Elko. Look left. And we're good to go. Oh, accidentally enabled my windshield wipers. Alright. Because I don't have any like those. I would have clicked the thing to turn the blinker off. What is it doing? So, because I still don't have any, like, one of those cameras or anything to, like, turn the camera automatically, I have to still use the freaking D-pad, which sucks. But it's better than nothing. Speed limit's back down to 40. We're gonna have to turn left. So, this is actually the first drive I'm even doing on this game ever since I graduated community college. Which I did bring up last episode, but I kind of made the mistake of mentioning it as an AA degree. I'm doing business major. It's supposed to be an AS. Or why not just call it associate's degree? Meanwhile, finally, the light's on. Luckily, we don't have a trailer right now, so we don't have to worry as much about swinging wide. But what a time community college was. My first semester of community college, I actually didn't even, like, show up at all. Because technically... Oh, speed limit's back down to 40. Why do we have to, like, change it so many freaking times? But what I mean by that is, my first semester, I was lucky to get an early registration thanks to an event I attended. And I was able to do all online classes. So, the only time I actually had to show up was to register a scholarship I won to, like, get it to my college so that way I can pay for books a bit easier. And after that, the entire time I just sat at home, did the work that way, and all was well, except for a couple of classes. The 4 classes I decided to take, I didn't really know how many units to take for the semester, so I decided on 4 classes for a total of 13 units. I thought that would be an okay amount to start with, not to mention I took a couple of summer classes beforehand, both of which were English classes, just to get those out of the way. I should probably... Yeah, let's change lanes here just in case, to be on the safe side. But the 4 classes I decided to take were Art Appreciation, where you just literally read into the history and look at different aspects of art from different eras, and then you're quizzed on them. There were only, I think, a couple times where you actually had to draw something. Luckily, all of which were very easy to do. And for my final drawing I had to do, were basically combining different aspects of art we had to do, put it into one drawing. Doesn't have to be a masterpiece or anything, just a regular drawing, and then we write a report on what aspects we used, what we actually drew, what it represented. And I decided to do Sir Francis Drake, one of his ships to be exact. If you ever played Uncharted, one of my favorite games of all time, I played Uncharted 1 through 4. And what it basically is, 1 and 3 had to do with finding treasures of Sir Francis Drake. And I decided, like, with how much I loved Uncharted and how cool it was, like, learning about Sir Francis Drake and seeing all these, like hidden, buildings, temples, and all of that, I decided to draw one of Sir Francis Drake's ships. Luckily, I got 100% on it. Meanwhile, this car is going stupidly slow, but the friggin' speed limit's 55. Or Now it's 50, but come on. Only to go back to 55 again. And then literally the rest of the class was, as I said before, you're just looking at random aspects of art and you're quizzed on it. But the way these online classes are set up, it's kind of a blessing and a curse. If it's an easy class that you know you're going to ace, then it's literally no issue. But if there's any sort of difficulty or you're sort of new to learning some of the aspects of it, like business stats, for example, it's gonna be kind of hard because it's not really easy to like request help from someone if you're just online. And basically, business stats, I wasn't supposed to take, but I never realized it until like a whole semester later. Like, besides from a few chapters we started off with, which were really easy, after that, it just became an absolute hellhole to try and learn all the materials. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Luckily, I barely passed with a C, but that's when, or a semester down the line, that's when I learned from a counselor, hey, you weren't supposed to take this class. What do you mean? It's literally on the list of requirements for my major. Yeah, but you're actually supposed to start with this class, which is way easier, but you didn't, and you still got a C in this class and passed. Like, the counselor was oddly impressed, but at the same time, I was like, no one freaking told me I was supposed to do these classes first. So, I was ultimately confused. I thought, judging by the number, like, if a certain number is lower, then that's where you're supposed to start off with, not the other way around, but apparently now it's kind of not how it works. So, business stats was the hardest class, and for some reason I dove right into that instead of going with one of the easier classes, and I still got a C. Luckily, towards the end, for my final semester of community college, I did take that easier class, which was quantitative methods. Basically, you're kind of relearning some algebra, some basic finance stuff, combined with all these business elements. Passed it easily. I think my final grade was a B plus. But there was this one odd moment in class, which I still don't know what to think of it. Because technically I was in the wrong, but at the same time, I felt like the professor was being kind of hypocritical about it. So we were doing this new module in class, and it was actually really easy to learn. I was basically blowing by it. So at some point when I got done with a math problem the professor told us to do, I switched tabs on my computer to the gradebook because I forgot to check what my previous exam grades were and how it affected my grade. Luckily, I got a B on that, and I was still at an A minus at the time, so I was looking through that, doing some calculations. Professor comes by, and not even in a rude way, just kind of whispers to me, "You're not even on the book?" Like, kind of as a question. And then just kind of walks on to another part of the class, which, granted, I should have probably stayed on the book, but at the same time, I'm already done with that math problem. I'm already, like, knowing the material well enough, and I'm actually one of a few students in class who actually cares about the grade, because there's literally this one student in class where her professor didn't even look at him once, didn't, like, question him once, and yet all this kid did next to me was screw off in class, and like 90% of the time, he's not even doing any work or studying. He's on his phone, either playing Clash Royale or scrolling through TikTok and Instagram, not even doing a thing in class, except when the teacher comes around. But me not being on a certain tab is more important than telling this kid to stay on task and fix his grade. Like, be freaking consistent about it if you genuinely care about what your students are doing. I actually really like this new speedometer. Like, it actually, once you get used to it, it's actually way easier to understand. But the other two classes I decided to take were macroeconomics and intro to linguistics. Basically, I had to do one final social studies requirement, and my last business requirement aside from quantitative methods was macroeconomics. So just for some context, the way I think it works out is that for a business major, if you don't care about doing the intro class and like learning the basic economic stuff before moving up, you can just go straight into microeconomics, which might be a bit hard. I don't really know if certain people should do intro to economics beforehand, but I just decided to go straight into microeconomics because in high school you're supposed to do a gov and econ before you graduated, so I thought I was good to go. But again, if you're kind of in that same boat, I recommend you talk to an actual counselor about it. And the weird thing was, with microeconomics, it was really freaking easy, at least for me. Like, some aspects were quite hard, but most of it I was able to get through. Got an A minus in class. But for macroeconomics, which was about a year later, there were some changes to the class by the same professor. Well, whatever is going on up there. The change of the class, to be exact, was with how you submitted your notes. Basically, the only thing you had to do to prove like you were learning the material was to take the quiz. And basically, there was a weekly quiz for every module. You just take a quiz, get a good grade, prove you're learning the material, and you're good to go. But for this class, it was way different. For some reason, not only did you have to take the quiz, you also had to submit a written portion of the notes, along with maybe some other things, depending on what module it was. And I was confused, like, well, you didn't have us do any of this beforehand. Why are you making us do it now? And that's when I realized immediately, oh, well, this is an online class where no one's like checking how you're actually doing the quiz, how you're actually taking your notes. And if you don't know the questions, all you have to do is take a picture of it and send it to someone or some AI thing, and it'll just answer it for you. So basically, you don't even have to learn the material. You could just have all this AI do the work for you. So yeah, I think that's why they actually had to implement all these handwritten note things because with how all these students are using AI instead to do their work, they have to have a new method of proving students are actually learning the material. So the idea came up from the professor, hey, why not just make them do a handwritten portion of the notes for points? And there you go. That's how it ended up. Meanwhile, speed limit came down to 35. We're being forced to go quite slow. But this is the first time I think I ever actually got to drive through all this scenery in the North Mountains of California and Nevada. Really liking this new section. Some good looking scenery around here. Meanwhile, we're gonna have to be really slow. We have a divider up. That's the first time I've seen, like, within a city having a wall divider put up. Never seen that in the game or in the real world. Let's change lanes real quick. Yeah, 3 over ain't gonna really hurt anybody. We're gonna let this big oil tanker merge in. So yeah, we're gonna have to go real slow here. There's 2 trucks ahead of us, so being able to get up to speed, that's gonna take a long time to do. Alright. Now I'm gonna head towards Elko. Finally. But first we gotta get around this interchange. You have to do this very carefully. I haven't been on these interchanges specifically before. And activate high... I thought my high beams are activated. You can see the green marker saying it's enabled. I don't know what they're referring to. Yeah, K isn't actually doing anything, or maybe it did, because now it's the blue icon is on, meaning it's the actual high beams. So what, it's like a low, medium, high thing. Yeah, this update can be, to me, as being a real doozy to learn, but at the same time, with how I haven't played this game in a while and how I don't take it that seriously, pretty much the blame should be put on me for not actually learning all of this beforehand. K does turn on high beam, so the button I have mapped out on my wheel, it does activate the headlights, but you still have to use a separate button to activate the actual high beams, which apparently I have to use. So high beams enabled. Once we get enough daylight, I'll make sure to turn those off. Now passing by Winnemucca in northern Nevada. Many people have never heard about Winnemucca in Nevada. Basically, the only thing they know about Las Vegas is Las Vegas, or on, I guess, less rare occasion of Reno. Of course, next to Lake Tahoe. Right? I think it's Lake Tahoe. Yeah, Winnemucca one of those random towns in Nevada you pretty much never heard about. But the only reason I know about it is because of that one song by Johnny Cash. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. You know, that one. But the other story I want to talk about as we pass through Winnemucca, a new law coming through California, and it has to do with online games. Luckily, it's not about so-called gaming creating violence, none of that crap. It's actually regulation I'm actually praising. California passing this bill for games that basically state if you're like an online only game and you're making players actually pay for the game and forcing them to play online, all of your content has to be accessible after shutdown, or else you have to give a refund. And reason I love this law is because today in gaming, it's turning into nothing but live service slop. Basically, Concord, Marathon, that one Suicide Squad game. Like, everything nowadays is becoming pay to play, these online modes only. And it's just so dumb how we have to deal with all of that, rather than like actual games which developers are still making. It's just that it's fewer and fewer, and those few actual games like Elden Ring or Black Myth Wukong, that one medieval game I keep forgetting the name of, those games have been absolute hits that gamers love. So those games are proven to make money, sell well, and developers get real successful off of that. But for some reason, these bigger companies, whether it's Ubisoft, Sony, whatever the heck, they don't seem to get the message. Sony especially should get the message, considering a lot of the recent exclusives they put out, like Ghost of Yotei, which is supposed to be a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima. Both of those games have been smash hits. God of War, well, both the normal God of War and the sequel after that, God of War Ragnarok, again, both of which were absolute hits, and yet for some reason they continue to put out live service slop which ends up dying, like Concord or Marathon. And with Destiny 2 shutting down, there's actually still multiple times more players than there actually are on Marathon, which is developed also by Bungie. Again, tell me why it makes sense to keep developing these live service games, because players hate them, they're clearly not playing them, and yet developers are continuing this predatory route of you have to both pay for these games and you're required to play online only, and we get to choose when we shut down the game and take all your content away and you can't complain. Looking at you, Gran Turismo 7 as well. But luckily, California seems to be leading the charge, and when it comes to a certain date that comes up, after that, whenever your game is like online only, and players have to actually pay for it, you have to make your content accessible after shutdown or else. And as much as I like that regulation, there is still one question. Of course, we know this law doesn't apply to free-to-play games, whatever reasons might be for that. Oh, the speed limit's 65. Making a big screw up right here. Just to be safe, let's do, yeah, one lower as we come up on the exit. Like, if a game is available through both, like, normal purchase and Game Pass, like Rainbow Six Siege, how does the law apply to that? Like, is it still gonna have to make its content accessible after shutdown, or because technically you could still play the game with a Game Pass instead, are they just gonna use that excuse to get out of the rules? There's no clarification on that, so hopefully at some point down the line that's clarified. But I'm glad at least someone is actually trying to fix the games industry. I wish we didn't need government intervention, but apparently we do, especially with loot boxes still running rampant in sports games like FIFA, NHL, Madden, 2K. So we're going to turn left in here. And yes, we do have to look for a parking spot at some point. And where is the job? Oh, I think we... No, get into reverse. I think we pass. Gotta back up real quick. Oh, now we reverse too much. There we go. Freight market. Here's the job, $59,666. Once we take off from Elko, we'll have to head all the way down south to Los Angeles. Finally, our first drive down there. I think it'll be really fun. Gonna have to wait for this truck to pass as we try to get out of the lot. Get it back in gear and off we go. So the other thing that was also like just beyond me with how the California wanted to like fix all that like live service gaming crap was the fact that the ESA, at least I think it was the ESA, that lobbying group comprised with all of the big name game developers and publishers, they had the audacity to like write a letter saying how bad the bill is going to be for business and that it's an overreach of regulations and laws and how like it's going to be so damaging to their businesses. Like, no the hell it's not. We see your financial reports and your investment calls. It's not going to do the slightest to your reports. Like, it's so obvious that they're just against like ethical practices that they're actually willing to go out and make public letters like this, which is so obviously full of crap and just proves that they're willing to like embarrass their entire sector of the entertainment industry rather than just comply and actually do good for the gamers. Like, why are you even doing this for? Like, if you don't want to actually make games, then let someone else do that job for you. Get out of the industry. We're not going to pay for all these crap titles anymore. Gonna have to make our mandatory rest in about 35 minutes. Try to not drive on the line. There is a rest stop right up here. Just wanted to make a bit of progress within the drive before we actually take any rest. Real quick, though, we're gonna try to like drive around this truck because he's going really freaking slow. There is no one on the right, and we are clear on the left, so we're clear to turn. Again, swing out really wide, might have to use a bit of that dirt. Especially with the kind of trucks we're hauling. And look at that, we're right on the buzzer, 10 minutes. And this is even a stretch of road that we're kind of new to. So we'll pull in here. I think we'll have to go around the back way, or... Ooh, I might have screwed myself. I should have... The rest stop is on the right, so we should have gone straight. No, I'm gonna miss the frickin' timer. Am I? Please don't find me. I'm trying my best. Yay, we're on time. No fine. I think the mandatory break is... not... There we go, 10 hours. We'll wake up at 11:43 in the morning.
One eternity later.
Having to rush into the rest stop just to comply with the law, but... Now we get to go back on the road. We actually were going the wrong way, it looks like. You can see the arrows. We were supposed to go around the other way. So, constantly screwing ourselves over. And... try not to... I'm okay with running the curb a little bit, like, these are supposed to be durable trucks. I just don't want to hit those poles. So now we continue to head south towards Los Angeles. And the one thing I like about driving around here in Nevada is that we don't have restrictive speed limits like in California. If we wanted to go a bit faster and complete the drive quicker, we actually can, and there's no one around to judge us. We can go 70, in some cases even 80 miles an hour, and Nevada ain't gonna care. So estimated arrival should be Saturday at 2:35 of the morning, or if we're, or in my case, doing 2 or 3 over the limit, or it's probably gonna be a bit sooner than that. So with that time, it should be a 14-hour drive. Shouldn't take that long, or at least from here. I think factoring in grabbing the trailer was more like 14 or 14 and a half to 15 hours. I actually think pulling up here, we're actually going to stop for some gas, because I don't know how long it's going to be before the next gas station, and this station looks real easy to park into, or it should be, but now I'm screwing things up. There's only one place we can actually pull in. Wish it was different. But there we go. Just got a line, and now we fill up. Damn, a whole dollar cheaper here in Nevada than in California. Look at that, only $6.22. Now we can hit the road. There is another gas station at one of the other small towns in Nevada. I think it's Pioche. But I don't know how hard it is going to be to pull into that. Another thing I like about the recent updates of American Truck Simulator is that we now have a timer showing us how long we have to actually complete the haul before we're late. Right underneath Los Angeles, Port of Long Beach, there's a timer, 30 hours, 33 minutes. And lucky for us, because right now it's 1:47, we should be there still before 3 a.m. We'll have plenty of time to kill. Meanwhile, the abandoned motel reminds me of that one building from GTA 5. Pulling up in an area where we suddenly have to go 45. And, oh, Eli. This should be a city within the game. Like, if it's there's sign there, then it should definitely have it. Down to 7th. And then back up to 8th. Now it's down to 35. And then in a moment we'll be turning left anyway, so I don't think we'll have to get to explore that anyway. Oh, a World Cup banner. Dang, but even for the... Of course, I have the Real World Company mods. But I did not know for a certain amount of time during the World Cup, they'll actually have those signs within the game as well. Now that's freaking awesome. Another reason to download that mod. And unfortunately, we missed the light, so we're gonna have to wait forever for the light to go green again.
1 hour later.
Finally, the light goes green. It's like waiting for a freaking concert to start after arriving 2 hours early. But as we leave Eli, I just want to mention some things. Of course, the day after I made that full strike video, I uploaded another video of me attending the Beach Boys concert. And basically, there's this town. Well, it's not all that small. I don't know if I can consider it a town. But basically, there's this town that built a new amphitheater. And I thought, what the heck's the point in that? Like, there's not going to be any people going to concerts anyway, like, or at least there shouldn't. Like, with the town of that size, there's no way that many people will actually be showing up. And the people who are interested in actually performing there's no way they'd actually want to be there, especially with having way less capacity. Like, I don't see the point of building an amphitheater there when there's all these other things you could be working on or improving within that town. And I was kind of right for, like, the first year of it. Basically, all it is was just, like, the most random artists and cover bands that no one's ever heard of. But some point, I suddenly get a news from a family member that the Beach Boys, like, of course, quite a few of the members, like, are very more, some unfortunate, deaths within, and, of course, the Beach Boys, it's no longer the 60s, like, kids nowadays, they basically never heard of them, but I just thought that was so cool, because I actually like a few of their songs, and I just thought how cool to actually, like, see them, or at least other relatives or random members they pull in to, like, help make the shows go on. And not to mention, Mike Love was still there, one of the more OG members. Like, I think it's Kokomo, Surfing USA, a couple of my favorites from the Beach Boys, and I had a fun time. Of course, like, I don't really remember Mike Love's role to be exact. I'm always having trouble remembering some band members' names, whether it's rock or the Beach Boys. But it looks like for some songs he was really struggling to get through, but still like trying his best, sounding like at least half decent. But with how old they are, that's kind of to be expected. But I had a fun time, and that's not the only time I went to an amphitheater for a concert. Vina Robles Amphitheater in Paso Robles, California. It's quite the drive there. But one of my favorite modern rock bands, Kaleo, announced that they were going to be performing there. And I was like, hell yes, we gotta see that. So we ended up getting tickets, drove down to Paso Robles, had an awesome freaking time. They sounded great. And with my playlist I want to put out, it's basically all the concerts I attended, both the Beach Boys and Kaleo, along with a couple of K-pop concerts I also went to. Yes, I still stand. Stray Kids in 2023, ATEEZ in 2024. So that's a total of 4 concerts I went to, and that's not all for my concert journey. Later this year, Breaking Benjamin and Chevelle, 2 iconic rock bands of the 2000s, they will be performing at the Honda Center in Anaheim, where the Anaheim Ducks play. So, once again, like, I basically told myself, I need those tickets. And I know BTS is performing at SoFi this year as well, along with their big comeback tour. But when I tried to get the tickets, they're immediately gone. There was a huge freaking line just to try and get one, and then suddenly all the tickets were gone. and the only tickets that were available were on resale sites for like $200 for a non-nosebleed seat. So I was pissed. Like, the thing about the Breaking Benjamin concert is that they're also performing alongside Chevelle, Starset, and this new, I think, pop rock singer called Kemi Kaho. A couple of her songs are actually really good. So you get three rock bands, all three of which I really like. Breaking Benjamin, Chevelle, Starset, I'm huge fans. But they're performing only one day, so you think with all that star power, people will be desperate to get tickets as soon as possible. But for some reason, there's still a bunch of tickets available, and even some like decent seats were only like less than $100, which I was surprised by. No one seems to be in a rush to even see these guys, even though they're like iconic throughout the 2000s. Not Starset, they're more like modern, like sci-fi cinematic rock. But still, if you haven't listened to Starset, you gotta try them. They sound awesome, and Dustin Bates' vocals, perfection. Oh, now we really gotta slow down here. Suddenly passing by a gas station, gotta lower it to 45. But yeah, even with multiple rock bands showing up for just one night in Anaheim, with just an arena that has way less capacity, no one seems to be buying. Meanwhile, BTS, it's literally just BTS, and they have 4 open dates at SoFi. Huge stadium, ton of capacity. And if you don't get the date that you want, you still get like 3 other days to try and see them. And they all immediately sell out. And the cheapest day for non-nosebleed seats, it's still like $200+. Clearly money I don't have. Unfortunately, I don't get to see the group that helped me get into K-pop. And as a consolation, at least, we still get to see Breaking Benjamin, Chevelle, and Starset, plus Kemi Kaho. So at least there's that. And luckily, I'm no stranger to the Honda Center either. It was 2025 that I got to see the Anaheim Ducks play, my favorite hockey team, as we have a huge slowdown here. A lot of, I guess, some construction going on. So we're going to have to wait for a little bit. But the specific game was, I think, February 1st, Montreal Canadiens. And after giving up 2 goals in the first period, we tied in the second period. And then third period, Troy Terry, at least I think it was Troy Terry, scores the goal to give us back the lead. And we end up winning. So heck of a way to enjoy my first hockey game. As this truck blows the red light, what are you doing? So yeah, I gotta wait forever again on this light.
6.5 hours later.
Frickin' finally, man. It's been minutes without a car coming by and you're still not letting me through. So now that's out of the way, we can finally get back to some regular roads. Speed limit is still 70, luckily, so we don't have to worry about any slowdowns in the meantime. Oh god, I got into the wrong friggin' lane when this highway began. I should have been on the right side getting ready for the exit. Getting quick, and luckily that truck behind slowed down for me. I appreciate it. And what's cool is we get near Las Vegas. Yes, that's an actual, like, air race course. That's, also has a plane, like, flying through it. That just takes me back. I don't know if it's actually based on the Red Bull Air Race, which used to be a thing until it ceased operations after 2019. But I freaking miss the Red Bull Air Race. Like, there's no, like, other competitions for air racing aside from the Reno Air Races, which I guess is now the Roswell Air Races ever since they were forced to leave Reno for Roswell, New Mexico. And not so much of the pilots were just so cool. You had Peter Chambliss, Matt Hall, uh, Paul Bonham from the UK. There was this one Japanese pilot as well. Like, they had a ton of star power, at least in my eyes. Like, some of the hardest, like, very small courses, and they were able to somehow conquer it and put on an awesome championship, but then it all just went away like that after 2019. I think maybe it has to deal with that 3 year hiatus from 2011 to 2013 that played a big part in the air race's demise. I'm not sure. I truly got into the air races in I think 2015. It was a year that Paul Bonham won the championship again. And weirdly enough, my favorite pilot wasn't any of the actual American pilots. It was actually Matt Hall from Australia. I was a big fan of him. I even watched him win his first race in Austria, and he was real close to winning the championship. I think once got second that year, but unfortunately Paul Bonham kept his points gap alive, took the championship for himself, and it was supposed to actually come back in, I want to say, 2023. This new group got sanctioning from the FAI, like the Global Federation for Air Races. They were going to bring back all the big pilots, have them compete over a few races around the world, call it the World Championship Air Race. But then, due to a whole bunch of logistical problems and COVID still kind of playing a role, it never happened. And nowadays we had that AR, like augmented reality air racing that they got the pilots to do. It was so weird. I'm glad that they still get to do fly. Like, they're still flying. It's just that the environment they now portray them in, it's so freaking weird. I don't think AR racing is really the way to go for them. I think they need to do some like actual like give them a course, have them race on it, put them around the world, crown a champion. Now heading through Barstow, and I'll be honest, I don't know a damn thing about Barstow other than it's in California and it's one of those random towns that many people, again, haven't heard of. The only times I actually hear anything about Barstow is like a rare commercial coming up for some business that is in that location. Finally closing in on our rest stop. We're gonna have to get over to the exit lane soon, but his car, for some reason, is slowing down and holding us up right behind. So thank you for being a complete pain to deal with. Lucky for me, well, I think even though we're a bit soon, we'll get to take our mandatory rest hours and everything will be okay. I think before that, though, we're actually going to get some gas as well, just to knock that out of the way. And here we are, finally pulling into the lot. If I remember correct... Wait, is there no way to, like... That thing's blocked off. Is someone getting arrested? Oh, those aren't even officers. What am I saying? There's no path to actually get in there. You gotta be freaking kidding me, right? What's the point of putting a freaking rest stop there if you're not gonna let me actually drive into it? Finally get to pull into a gas station. Hopefully I'm aligned well enough. I get some swinging around to try and align the truck. Parking brake on, it's back up to $7.50 a gallon. You're freaking kidding me. Now we have to carefully pull into this rest thing. Hopefully it doesn't become too much of a pain to deal with. And why is it not letting me rest here? Don't tell me you're gonna make me park correctly when it's already freaking impossible to do. Oh. Now, how does that make sense? Now it's Saturday, 9:35 a.m. Gonna make sure I don't hit that truck behind. I don't think I am, but just in case. Oh yeah, we're Gucci. Rejoining the I-15 South. We're only an hour 15 minutes away from LA, and we still have more than enough hours to spare. Don't want to get into that right lane, or else that's going to try to take us to San Bernardino. We want to get to LA, the main area, and that'll put us on the I-10 West. And in fact, we can turn the headlights off. We don't need them. And finally, we're sort of on the home stretch for LA. We still have about 2 hours, 20 minutes left. The other thing I want to talk to you about gaming, as well as the recent news regarding both Sony and Microsoft. They're both in the news for all the completely wrong reasons. It seems that every time one company is in the news, instead of taking advantage of that, they just decide, let's try to do even worse than them. And that seems to be the main philosophy of both Sony and Microsoft for some reason. Microsoft is already in hot water, having to deal with putting their exclusives to Sony because they're literally selling no consoles. On top of that, Xbox Game Pass have cratered completely with the rising in prices for them. Like, the Ultimate tier was $30 a month, and that made a lot of gamers unsubscribe. At least the new head of Xbox tried to lower them to, like, try and bring gamers back, which should be good. But then it was recently announced that all expectations for the Game Pass subscriptions have fallen short by, I think, 40%, maybe like 30 to 40%. Which means that Microsoft, even without exclusives, if they wanted to make Game Pass their real cream of a crop, that's completely failed too. And why do we have trailer damage? I didn't hit anything. And, well, it was technically saying 2% earlier, I guess because of usual wear. But it's just bringing that up now. Still another interchange to go. I think, yeah, we're going to have to get on the south here. It's heading towards San Diego, where we're going to get off sooner, just to stay on track. So, no driving to Santa Barbara for now. What I was saying about Xbox is that they're already in hot water with Game Pass being a failure and raising their prices, driving gamers away, and all their exclusives have been complete flops. They seem to always screw that up and are forced to put them on PlayStation consoles to make up for it. But now they're shutting down another studio, looks like, and initiating 3,200 layoffs. Or layoffs of 3,200 employees, which might involve as well either shutting down more studios or at very least getting rid of them and taking them off of the Xbox umbrella. So, Xbox continues to go down a hill, but Sony decided to try and do even worse. We already know that Microsoft is kind of getting rid of their disc production department. Basically, all their exclusives and stuff will be digital only. But at least they're not forcing it down to third-party developers. If they wanted to produce discs for their games so they can be both physical and digital, they can. Sony, though, for some reason, is deciding against that, saying that in 2028, they want to phase out all discs, make all their consoles digital only, and even make that the same way for their third-party devs. But you technically don't own your digital games. They can be revoked at any time. I hope you are aware of that. And if services go down, there's a chance that you might not be able to play your games again unless they come back online. And on top of that, the fact that you're forcing on to third-party devs without their input, of course it was inevitable, but now all the players and even a lot of developers and some governments are now boycotting PlayStation and are opening some legal cases against them, trying to force them back into allowing discs again. Again, you have all the momentum in the world, and you want to try and screw us over when you have everything you need and everything you want right there in front of you. You have all the best exclusives, all the best studios under your umbrella, the best sales figures, not to mention all the chaos surrounding the PlayStation Plus subscriptions, kind of having the same problem as Xbox Game Pass, like games leaving, it being too expensive for some. Like, do they even want us to buy their products anymore and play their games? Because I don't think they do. I don't even know if I could say vote with their dollars, because the only two options for, like, actual mainline gaming is Xbox and PlayStation. Of course, there's Nintendo if you want to play Mario, but their hardware isn't really that good, let's be honest, and of course, they're not going to get all the games on there, because, again, inferior hardware, you're just not going to have it. I need to stop ranting, because I've been ranting so much about crap games and all of this that I'm just going to lose it at some point when I'm supposed to be getting this truck around the port. But anyway, we finally made it to the port of Long Beach. Take one turn, it looks so easy to get lost, and if I didn't have a GPS, then heck yeah, I'm getting lost. But here's the destination marker, finally. And why is the top option locked? That's never been like that. Is it because of that new, like, what is it, like, Truck Academy update? Do you have to complete that in order to unlock it? Maybe there's something else I missed again, but it should be an easy parking job. Just head straight forward. Park it. There we go, decoupling. I hit the wrong button, but finally it's over. And what the? I clicked the button. Why is it? Oh, it didn't mark green. It said I could decouple it. Okay, there we go. Now it should register. Finally. 36 hours, 806 miles. And I unlocked a skill point for it. So, what should I apply that to? Let's do high value cargo. Yes, please. And finally, we get to relax a little. As for garages, I wonder, should be enough to buy a new truck. I want to expand. This one has more mileage, but at $12,000 cheaper, I could do that. Try to go for 101,000, but we'll keep looking. Ooh, 565 horsepower, plus it has like its own like sleeper cabin right there. That looks real cool. Yeah, it's more money, but I want to give my employees something good that's actually good to drive, you know? Alright, I've done some thinking, but we're gonna buy the International Lone Star high-rise sleeper. As for the garage, we'll do it to our Phoenix garage. Let it take over the final slot. And now we just assigned a driver to it. Wages a bit higher, but of course I like higher ratings, so Felipe, you get to drive our new international truck with a good sleeper cabin. But that's for another time. I want to thank all of you for sticking around for this episode of American Truck Simulator. If you want to leave your thoughts on how things went or want to request more videos like this, please like and subscribe. It'll mean a lot to the channel. See you all another time.